This is the abuse I have to deal with.
Give me one, don't you?
Ja, was war jetzt am Fokus?
Okay, so today Racheli analysed for you what the word premeditated means. It means planned, it means consciously, it means meticulously, it means in detail. It means having, ladies and gentlemen, a plan B. It means knowing when and where every little detail is going to take place. What is the opposite of that, ladies and gentlemen? Something that is instinctive, a knee-jerk reaction, something that's intuitive, or a passion crime. What does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? That means that this person who meticulously planned this premeditated act was able to have foresight. They were able to think of the context of this murder, they were able to think in the long term, and they were able to think coldly and calculatedly. They were therefore able to separate their emotions, as Racheli proved to you, from their intellect. And that is critical to this debate because these people, ladies and gentlemen, are capable of rational thought, and that is what Racheli spoke to you about today. She also spoke to you about a state which justifies the defence, which basically says your experience of terrible pain and suffering legitimizes you inflicting terrible pain and suffering on somebody else, and it gives you that license. Now, I'm going to look at the debate in four main issues today. Firstly, I'm going to look at the insanity and the medical issue. Secondly, I'm going to look at the subjectivity issue, subheading the twisted mind issue. And the third thing I'm going to look at is context in court, and the fourth is that the state has failed these women. So firstly, let's begin with the medical issue. Now, Alon said to us, and I quote, BPS has been studied and established. He also said to you, and I quote, we can tell when these women are lying and we can tell when they are not. Now, we disagree. There is no definitive test, as Racheli told you, for BPS. There is no consensus among psychologists. Expert witnesses are brought on both sides to determine whether or not this woman has this issue. It is a contentious issue. It is not a scientific issue, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Feldman continued that argument. He spoke about the reason why being a battered wife is like being insane. And what terms did he use? He used the term, for example, complete meltdown, when your will is subjugated. He looked more at the process of being battered, and he told us that these are women, quote, whose whole reality has broken down, unquote. Now, we disagree. We are going to characterize this woman. We think that this woman has been completely mischaracterized by our opponents, who I forget now. Okay. Who is this woman? Often she does have a job. Very often, she has children. Even more often, the children don't know about the murder that she is planning. She has not, and I'll quote Feldman again, experienced a, quote, complete breakdown of all social values. She is an operating person in the social context, and she therefore, ladies and gentlemen, is not analogous to an insane person. Feldman.
Okay, so Charles Soldier can plan a military action in which he rapes many women, and we would still not consider him to be a viable part of society because his whole context is shot.
Okay, so that brings me exactly to my second point, the idea of subjectivity, and that we can't judge people with twisted minds, so to speak. So Alon told us today that these women have experienced, quote, a world of violence. They think that this is the only mechanism by which they can defend themselves. And we say that this is not true. Firstly, they don't use violence elsewhere in their lives. Secondly, they understand society, they understand non-violent measures. I mean, for heaven's sake, they watch television, all right? The second thing that they spoke to us about is that, you know, these people think that this is the only option. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll put it to you. They never prove to you that they think that this is the only option. They, in many cases, might think it's the best option, or the easiest option. They might want revenge. They might want custody, for example. Now, Alon asked in a POI, he asked a dean in a POI, if I think you're going to kill me tomorrow, my only viable option is to kill you today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that argument is inherently flawed because she's not planning for you to be killed tomorrow. She's planning for next week and the week after. Next week she buys the poison. The week after that she organises the excuses. The week after that she organises the alibis. She knows that she is not in immediate danger. She's aware of that, and we can tell this by the fact that she is planning her actions carefully. She's planning for the future in which, ladies and gentlemen, she knows that she is going to be alive. Now, Feldman also said to us that we cannot judge from the outside, that we don't know what these people with twisted minds are thinking. And we say to you, ladies and gentlemen, that's irrelevant, because criminal justice is always trying to understand the criminal mind. What we have established here is that in a criminal court, they're all mad, okay? They're all killing people. The point here is this woman clinically insane? Does she have a reasonable, rational way of establishing that she is not mad like all the other criminals are mad, that she's mad in a different, more defensible way? And we say that we do not have that option, that we do not have that option for at all. Now, the next issue was brought up was context in court. We have to consider the context. We always consider the history. We always consider the background. We always consider the circumstances of the defendant. Ladies and gentlemen, we agree. Consider the background of this woman.